Ready?
There?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think it's going.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going. It's about
All right, have
8,
a seat.
9.
Yay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
When you think of tradition, what do you think of? Maybe you think of family holidays or recipes, or special games and activities that you and your family play. But when traditions are passed down from generation to generation to generation, people call this cultural continuity. This means that there is a continuation of culture through time and place. Cultural continuity can be a difficult thing for families who immigrate because they are pressured to give up pieces of their culture and tradition in order to better fit into a new culture and tradition. This pressure is called assimilation, and it can be a painful process for families. The story that I tell today is about one Latino family living in Los Angeles and how they, and many families like them, found ways to resist assimilation and exercise cultural continuity through the practice of folklorico dance. The family I speak of is my father's family, who grew up in the city of Commerce during the 70s. During this time, there were many Latino immigrant families, as well as Latino families who had been living in the U.S. for longer. Though all community members saw themselves as Latinos, some valued more the benefits of assimilation, while others wished to teach their children cultural continuity and appreciation. When I interviewed two members of my father's family, Terry and Salvador Salas, they confirmed that despite hard pressures to give up pieces of their culture, their parents valued cultural continuity and the impact it would have on their children.
I started it more de fuerza. My mom made me dance. But I didn't know then why I was doing it. Of course, it was free, a free program as I grew up, and I participated in other programs, dance, ballet, tap, jazz. Everything was free to the city. But folklorico is what stood out, and we did it longer because it was, I guess, a proudness that my mom instilled in us, and of course my dad. But we continued to dance just because we enjoyed it as well. And Sal continued to dance more than I did. I got into sports and other things that the city offered. So
I think we were also involved with folklorico because it was music that we were familiar with. Even when we were going to parties, some of this music would be in the background, it would be playing, and so we would be able to recognize the music, and then to put a dance to it, it made it somewhat more meaningful to us. And so it was the music that helped me understand, why there's dancing going on with it. And so that's why I enjoy it.
And I even remember dancing in front of family members, and I think my mom just, was so proud that we were able to do the dancing at like a wedding. We literally went out there and danced for the while the mariachis played. We didn't have our costumes.
That's right. But
For an immigrant family, it is understandable why it made their parents so happy and prideful to see their kids practicing a cultural tradition that represented their Mexican heritage, especially when it was not always easy to practice cultural traditions and pressures to assimilate were strong.
The others.
Yeah.
But I think the orgullo to me came when, growing up, my culture wasn't very welcomed in some areas. But I know as I grew older, I would put on a hand-stitched blouse with more proudness because I became proud of my culture because of all the dancing that I grew up using. And
When Terry shows off her culture, she's displaying her cultural identity. Cultural identity is the idea that we learn about who we are by the traditions, customs, language, music, and foods that make up our culture. Immersing themselves in folklorico, Terry and Sal were better able to develop their cultural identities even during times when their culture was not accepted. And they grew closer to their culture as they adopted the attitudes of each dance.
the different costumes also portray a different feeling of, of that region that you're going to be in. Because, of course, Veracruz is very formal and white, and you're going to notice that. Whereas Jalisco is very festive and colorful. And
the guys are in a charro.
yeah, the guys in the charro outfit and the women are in very colorful outfits.
Yeah.
And, so even if I were to dance those two dances, my feelings inside are different because of just the region I'm representing.
In adopting the attitudes and styles of each dance, Terry and Sal were able to get into character. This allowed them to feel a deeper sense of intimacy with the attitudes, styles, and movements of their Mexican culture. When we think about tradition and culture, we oftentimes don't think about how we inherited traditions or have adopted cultures, mostly because they have been there our whole lives and we've grown used to them. But I ask you to take a moment to stop and reflect on how culture has been taught to you, and perhaps more importantly, what value you think cultural tradition plays in teaching us to remember cultural identities.